Hey, hey, hey. Happy Technique Tuesday, TMFA. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Got your week started off well. Hopefully, spring is sprung where you are and you can enjoy the nice spring weather, at least a little bit, even during this time of lockdown. But it's me, Dialect Coach Chris Lang. How's everybody doing? I'm here on Technique Tuesday is I wanted to chat a little bit about accents with you guys. Specifically, something that I am seeing coming up rather more often in the last week or so, and I suspect it's going to continue over the coming weeks. There have been a lot of open calls for actors to submit things for casting, and I've actually been getting a lot of requests in the last week or so for help prepping for upcoming auditions and upcoming productions that had been put on hold and that now anticipate some version of getting back to work in the coming months. So what this means for actors is that any auditions that they've had and any self tapes they've been asked for to start thinking about putting together, that need accents, they've been coming to me for those things. And so I've been answering a lot of the same kinds of questions in terms of accent auditions for a lot of actors. So it struck me that it would actually be a pretty good time to come on TMFA on Technique Tuesday here, do a Facebook Live, and talk a little bit about accent audition preparation. What you need to know when you get called in to audition in an accent other than your own, because this will happen in your career. It's almost guaranteed. Number of times that I've been called by an agent or a manager, kind of, panicky a little bit, or an actor panicky, going, okay, we've got this thing for Netflix. It's in 2 days, and you need to be Swedish. And we've never done an accent before, right? So, like those situations, I guarantee will happen in your career at some point. You're going to be, given the opportunity to audition for something that's fairly large. That's a good step forward in your career, but they're going to want an accent. And if you've never worked on accents or things like that, that can cause a little bit of stress and definitely can sort of throw a wrench in the works of your process. So we need to be prepared for when these things happen. So there's two things that I'm always going to recommend in terms of how to prepare for that situation. Write these down, grab a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper, sticky note, something. Write these two things down. First thing that you want to do to prep for an accent audition is this: already be training in accents. All right. Already have training in accents. Already be keeping those skills in terms of how to do accents, how to learn accents, and how to act with an accent. Keep those skills honed constantly. You want to keep working on them just like you'd be working on anything else you do. All right. This is a little bit different, I'd say, than, if you can ride a horse and could be cast riding a horse, absolutely you should keep that skill honed. But you're not going to ride a horse in everything you get cast in. You're almost always going to talk in everything that you get cast in. So learning how to speak in accents and act in them is a skill that's actually more necessary in a lot of ways to keep honed over the course of your career. So that's thing one. Thing number two, have a process in place for your accent audition. What does this look like? All right, I'm going to give you an 8-step plan. Sounds like a lot, 8 steps. All right, but this is what you want to do when prepping for your accent audition. You need to research for accent clues. So, this first step includes checking the breakdown out, looking at the show in general. What accents does the show use? What kinds of are there characters that are like the one you're being called in for? If so, what kinds of accents do they have them using? Does it mention it in the breakdown in any way, either explicitly or implicitly? Has there been any email from your agent, your manager, or casting that either, again, explicitly or implicitly refers to an accent of any sort? You want to research for accent clues. All right. There will be times where you're not given a lot, to be honest. Lots of times, in fact, where you won't be given a ton of information on what accent, exactly that they're looking at and things of that nature. So you have to be a really good researcher in terms of the initial information you get, breakdown, casting, the show itself, the type of film it is, those kinds of things. You want to be able to make a good informed decision. And obviously your accent coach is going to be able to help you in that process as well. Be able to point you in some directions, ways of thinking, ways of looking at the type of role and that sort of thing. So number one, research accent clues. Number two, reach out to your accent coach. Even if it's only a couple of lines, even if it's only a couple of lines, reach out to your accent coach. Now is the time. Now, when you reach out to your accent coach, what do you do? All right, you want to make sure that the first email you send them wants to have, here's the audition, here's when it is, here's when I'm filming it. All right, here is when we want to have it done by. Here is the breakdown. Here is the email I got telling me I had the audition. Here is the information I found on the director and the kind of show. All that accent research you did, including, wherever you might have looked, you want to send to your accent coach. That's the first email. You want to send the sides for sure. And you want to send a recording of your voice to your accent coach. In fact, 2 recordings. Once reading through the sides in your own native preferred accent. Thing number 2, reading through the sides in your best shot at what you think the target accent is. Because you need to set your accent coach up with all the information and all the information about how you currently are seated with this accent that you need to act in, so that they can help you the most effectively, in most effective way possible, most efficient way possible. Because a lot of these things happen on a quick turnaround. We're very, very lucky when we get weeks to prepare, and extraordinarily lucky to get months to prepare for a project. Mostly we get days. So we need to have this process in place so that days-long process is actually can be affected. We can do well in it if we have to. Right? And this is one of those things. So you need to send all the information that you have, including a recording of your voice, once in your own native accent, once in your best shot at the target accent, to your dialect coach. You need to send that information so that they can help you much more quickly and effectively. So that's thing number 2. All right. Number 3, schedule some sessions with that coach. All right. You're going to want to schedule more sessions than you think are necessary. Because at the end of the day, learning the accent actually doesn't take that much time. Learning about the accent, I should say, doesn't take that much time. Learning to act in the accent, wow, that's a whole other kettle of schmetzels. That's a much more involved process. And especially if our goal is to make sure that you can act at the highest level possible. We want you to be really good when you hop into that audition. We want you to be extraordinary. We want you to catch casting's eye so they go, ooh, we got to hire this actor. That's something special. So if our goal is to have you acting at the highest level, then we need to spend the time prepping you to act in the accent at the highest level. And that typically takes a little more time than most people think, especially on a quick turnaround. But even if it's not a quick turnaround, it definitely is a longer process than most people, I think, usually recognize. So schedule more sessions than you think with your accent coach that day. If you have a couple of days, you can meet twice a day. You certainly meet every day. If it's like a 3-4 day run up, you want to try to meet every day and really, really do a good job on this thing. So that's the third step, is to schedule sessions. You can also ask your accent coach based on what they heard in your baseline recording, the materials available, pardon me, the amount of text that you have to do. For instance, if we're dealing with a page of text versus 20 pages of text, that's a little bit different as well, just in terms of time commitment and how much we have to be able to go through all of the material. So ask your accent coach. Certainly they'll definitely have advice to offer you on how much time in preparation is going to be ideal. Then you want to make sure that step 4, all right, is to make sure that again the accent coach has your baseline recordings. Once you've talked to them, once you've discussed, once you've sent them already some baseline recordings, right? But now that you've talked with your accent coach, and now maybe we've changed exactly the accent we wanted to target, things of that nature. This is an opportunity to make a couple more baseline recordings for your coach. Again, just in case you have altered anything, or if you want another shot at it. Say, I think I want another shot. See how we land on that. Because going and doing your baseline recordings is an opportunity for you to test your level of skill currently. And that's very useful for you and your coach, both. So send another round of baseline recordings. Step number 5, you want to find the people in the real world who speak in the accent you're targeting. An actual, honest to God human being who speaks in the accent you're targeting. You want to find samples of that. YouTube is a great place to go. Pinterest. There's all sorts of accent websites. The International Dialects of English Archive is touted a lot. That's fine, except it's only audio. And what really helps us is having audio and video. Both of those things. So you want to target a person who speaks in the accent that you're targeting in real life. And you want to try to find a couple of people for sure, but certainly try to find at least one who is as much like the character that you'll be playing as possible. Age, gender, background, history, as much as you can find. Obviously, it's not going to be a perfect one-to-one correlation. That's just not possible, typically. So do your best at that and find, and research about the people. Who are these people? What kind of people are they? Because this is the character identity that you'll be stepping into. And we have to have an identity to house the accent in. And that's what this would be. So research the people. That's step number 5. Step number 6 in your accent journey for auditions, meet with your coach. That's when you start meeting with the coach. And then you practice in step 7. And then step 8 is audition, then repeat. You will repeat this if you, let's say this is the first audition, met with the coach, you did all that, then you practiced the heck out of it, then you auditioned, and you got the call back, back to square one. Let's look at the breakdown again. Let's make sure we're targeting the right way. We're going to get new sides, probably. We're going to get some new information. So we start all over, and we make sure we're as prepared for the callback, no matter how many of them there are, as possible. 1 callback, 2 callback, 3 callbacks, whatever it is. You want to be as prepared. This 8-step process: research, reach out to the coach, schedule sessions, send some more recordings, research the people, meet with the coach, practice, audition, and then repeat. We want to do that process for every audition you have. Why do we have processes like this, you guys? Why do we have processes like this? Why do we have technique? Acting technique is there to set our talent free. Accent technique is there to help set your talent free. Having an audition technique like this for accents is there to help you set your talent free so you can be at your best when auditioning. That is the biggest thing we want for you, is that when you have an opportunity, you can grab it by the horns and just go for it. Sink your teeth into it and act the living crap out of it in the way that you want to do best, to show your best side. That's why these processes exist. They don't exist to give you busy work or to, gum up the works for you. They exist so that you have things to do to set yourself up for the best kind of success. That's why processes like this exist. So, as you, kind of move forward in the next few weeks, anticipate seeing some more self-tapes out there that you can submit to. Anticipate seeing lots of things out there that you can submit to that require accents. And anticipate having to dive into a process like the one that I just described. Again, this is, see it as an opportunity. A real opportunity to allow yourself to be set free as an artist and as an actor and to shine in front of casting. Ultimately, that's what we'll be after. So that's kind of all I had to say today about accent auditions in general and that process. I'm happy to take questions for sure. This is a a unique opportunity for me to get to interact with actors that I don't see on a daily basis, and to be able to answer some questions that you guys might have. Pop them in the comments for me. I would love to see what you guys have going on in the comments. If I don't see them, by the way, right away, sometimes the Facebook Livey thing gets all gunked up, and I don't actually see the comments as you're talking. If that's the case, go ahead and pop the question or comment in the comments anyway, and I will circle back to it after I'm done, with the live portion, and I'll be happy to answer whatever questions you have. Um, Speaking of auditions, one of the questions I get a ton in terms of accent auditions is, you mentioned, Chris, that I have to be ready to go with accents before I need them. What accents should I have? How do I even know that? How do I know what accents I need to be successful when I get an opportunity for these kinds of auditions? Um, Kind of a big question, of course, but there's a couple ways to think about it. First thing I always think about is, okay, what accents are you most likely to be cast using? What is your type? What's your branding? What do you look like? Do you look like somebody who would use X, Y, and Z accents and be cast using those? What type, if there's a type of character that is typically using a certain kind of accent or accent family, and you get seen for those kinds of characters, I would say those accents are probably ones you want to have. Um, Another way to think about what accents you want to have in your back pocket, I would think, look at the news. Check out what's in current events, what's in the news, what's on, what are the big stories? Because the stories of today in news are going to be the movies and TV shows of, you know, 9 to 18 months from now. All of the stuff that we're seeing happening in current events typically finds its way onto the screen somehow, in some kind of a story. And so the accents associated with those stories are very, very useful to bring into your career and have ready when you need them for the audition for that story that was inspired by the thing that happened in the news or wherever it was. We saw this there was a time where all the Law and Orders were advertising, ripped straight from the headlines. But now everyone's doing that. We're taking our inspiration directly from real life and those kinds of things. So I would, take a look first at what your type is. What are the accents I'm most likely to be cast using because of my look, my type, my branding, the kinds of characters that I will play. Then look at what's happening in the world. Um, Facebook has told me that it's having trouble playing my video, but it says I'm still live. So I'm going to assume that I'm still live and here with you anyway. So I'm gonna stick with it. Where was I? Yes. Then check into the news and what's happening on a current basis, what's going on in the world, and those are the accents that you'll want to make sure that you have at your beck and call. Um, Another thing in terms of accents, here's one that happens every once in a while. You've prepped, you've gone through the process I described. You've prepped your audition and you've prepped the accent for that audition. You've spent a good chunk of your time and effort and energy doing that. You go in, you do the audition, and they have you read it a few times, and then casting says, hey, would you be able to read this again in another accent? And it's another accent that you have on your resume, and they say, interesting. Maybe I could hear this in a, you just did it for us in a West Texas accent, but I wonder, what would this be like if this character was from New Jersey? And you have a New Jersey accent under your belt, you've been using it, but it's been a while. What do you do? It's perfectly acceptable to say, yeah, absolutely, I can do that. Can I have 5 minutes to just get myself into the zone and, get in the accent and go through the text once before giving it my best shot? They might not give you that time, but odds are casting wants you to be at your best. Yeah, maybe they will give you that time. And you should definitely ask for it. Because swapping, into a different accent after you've prepped in the first accent is a little bit like, you've come in for a dance call and it's jazz, like a Broadway style jazz number, and you do that, and then it goes really well. You do it a few times. And then they say, can you do that same choreography, but just like in ballet? Okay, sure. You know, if you know ballet, but you'll need to step out of the room and, leave behind the initial choreography and take on the new choreography. Because the difference between two accents in your mouth is the same as the difference in choreography for sure. And it's just as hard, if not a little bit harder, because we're dealing with language as well. So that's one of those things that I would say keep an eye out for that. And, you want to have a process in mind for what to do when those things happen. And that's what I would suggest in that case. Um, so it's been about 20 minutes. I'll keep this one short and sweet. Again, any questions that you have, I'm happy to take those in the comments, and I'll circle back and see them. Before I finish, I guess, I just want to point out, you may have seen my posts on TMFA here for accent skills workshops and accent gyms. I just want to draw your attention to those things. A lot of actors have been asking for kind of opportunities to really get into accent work or any other kind of technique for sure, but they come to me for accent work, so that's what I hear. And I wanted to create some opportunities that were useful then for those actors who found themselves stuck at home, kind of in the midst of a very weird time. And so the accent gyms first were born. These are just one-off classes, if you will. I don't even like to call them classes. It's more of a workout, to be honest, where you can come and bring any accent that you have been working on that fits obviously with the gym. So if it's a general American accent gym, if you've been working on any kind of general American accent for your career, you get to bring that accent into the gym. You'll be paired with a scene partner. You'll be given a scene to prep before you show up, and you'll get a chance to be in the accent for a whole hour. Sort of no pressure to have to get it right, but really explore, where is my work at today? What am I excelling with right now? Where are my challenges still? What's it like to put this accent on its feet in a scene with another actor and kind of let her rip? And then you get some feedback. You get to hear the feedback that the other actors are getting on their scenes, apply it to yourself. And it's a really, really useful tool for you to really test the limits of where your accent currently is, whatever it is. I myself right now, I've got a West Texas accent gym coming up. I've got a Boston and a General American this weekend on Saturday. Come check those out. Boston accents and General American accents on the weekend. They're a lot of fun. I think you'll really enjoy them. Again, a good opportunity for you to flex your craft a little bit. Especially right now when, there's nothing in production for you to flex your craft on. So this is a good chance for you to keep those muscles honed, keep the accent sharp, and you want to get that accent performance ready, and accent gym's the way to go. The second thing I'll say, the accent skills workshops, these are more for a longer term view. They're 6 weeks long. And the goal in the accent skills workshop is to learn the skills that you need for every accent. So everything that you would need to use for whatever accent you were doing, that's the sole purpose behind the accent skills workshops. I am gearing them in some cases towards a specific accent, but whatever accent is first on your list, these skills apply to that accent. So it's a good opportunity for you if you wanted to get into and make sure that you had a bevy of accents in your toolbox as an actor. This is a good place to start that journey. In a way, you'll be working with other actors. It's fairly intensive. You'll get a lot of good out of it, I think. Especially then you'll know the steps moving forward to really start honing in on how to do the accent that you are first going to target, let alone the second, third, and fourth accent as well. So those two things, keep an eye out for those. If you have any questions, again, pop them in the links, but I'm happy to chat with you about them. You can also shoot me an email, find my website. My website is dialectcoachchrislang.com. You can contact me through there. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. You can also go to dialectcoaches.com and ask for me through the contact form on that page as well. So either of those is just fine. The last thing I'll say, some friends and I who are other accent coaches from Dialect Coaches Worldwide, we have a Facebook group that you guys should check out. Dialect Coaches Worldwide for Actors. All right, it's a page that we created to give actors some good free content on how to structure their careers as accent actors, ways to think about accents, and how to dig in and really build a community of like-minded accent actors. So if you want to join us over there, just click join. You'll answer some questions. Make sure to tell us you came from TMFA. All right, we love TMFA. We love everything that's going on over here, and we love, I'm so thrilled to be a part of it and be asked to come on Technique Tuesdays and help the actors here. So make sure you tell us when you show up at Dialect Coaches Worldwide for Actors that you came here from TMFA, because we want to know that so we can share the love around a little bit. All right, my friends, that'll do it for me for today on Technique Tuesday. Again, have a great week, everybody. Take some time if you can. Put the sunshine on your face, stand by a window, go outside, breathe some fresh air, feel the wind on your skin. Really is a beneficial way to feel like a human being in this time of lockdown. So stay safe out there, stay hydrated, stay curious in your work, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. All right, guys, I'll see you out there.